First, it's time to duel here in Top 64 of YCS Orlando, the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Championship Series of 2025.
The very first match of this illustrious top cut.
All right, John doesn't seem to be too happy with his hand. Maybe he's contemplating his first play, but nope, it is
Can't be that upset.
Can't be that upset. Nope, not if Ice Ryzeal is going to come down first. But
he's allowed to be a little upset.
Multi-Army Fu Wallace will be changed, so anytime John special summons from the deck or extra deck, Jesse will be able to draw a card. And there is no Ash Blossom here from John Wilkins, so the first card drawn to Jesse's hand. This is where Jesse wants to be.
I do see a lot of spell cards in Jesse's hand, so if John doesn't commit too much to the field here, Jesse can potentially blow him out with all those powerful engine cards.
All right, X Ryzeal is going to add Sword Ryzeal from the deck to the hand, I believe.
I think at this point you're opting out of the Fiendsmith engine and trying to just lay low with a detonator, unless you already have something along the lines of track and at least set up something. But if you already had track, you would have started with it, right?
Potentially, yep. So now he's looking to... Yep, going to go ahead and special summon the sword. Oh, maybe not.
Just take over here.
Contemplating his options.
It's a tough spot, having to play around the Multi-Army Fu Wallace.
When you play the mini game, you have to really consider how many cards you want to give your opponent and what amount of interruption is enough to just survive until the next turn. It doesn't necessarily have to win the game by itself, but needs to just make it to the next turn. And if John knows anything about Jesse's deck, which he probably does, then he knows he's going to need to put up quite a bit.
All right, Bonfire is going to add X Ryzeal.
Another copy here already used its effect to add at this point, but it is still a free extender.
Maybe he'd want to use it just to get an aggregator into the graveyard so he could attach it under the detonator, potentially.
Even an Eclipse would be... Or actually, Eclipse would be pretty bad here because it doesn't have anything else for the detonator.
So he's going to special summon Sword Ryzeal, and then that's going to allow him to add another copy of Ice Ryzeal for follow-up on the next turn.
It's all about making it to the next turn.
That's what John's thinking about right now. How many disruptions I can put up without giving Jesse too many cards?
Well, I was gaining a lot of popularity because of the introduction of the Fiendsmith engine in Ryzeal. Typically, pure Ryzeal, very powerful at playing into the Fu Wallace, not giving up too many draws. But unfortunately, the Fiendsmith engine, typically leading with Ice Ryzeal, will give already one draw, and then going into the Fiendsmith engine will just give him so many more. Fu Wallace is the main counter and very powerful to see for Jesse right now.
All right, looks like he is going to special summon X Ryzeal, sending...
It looks like he's contemplating the aggregator here.
Yep, does send Marilogical Aggregator to the graveyard.
Is it going to be a 4-material detonator? Yeah, okay, I didn't think so. Potentially just going into Duo Drive just to give an additional... Like, the cross could be worth one draw, honestly, especially with the amount of follow-up you get as well.
But it looks like he opts to go into Detonator here. On summon, he's going to be able to attach a monster underneath as material. He's going to attach that aggregator, so if he detaches it during Jesse's turn, he'll also be able to negate a card. But it looks like he might...
I think he's going to go for Dweller. It makes a lot of sense, especially when you know the matchup. It cuts off a lot of powerful plays here.
Yeah, he probably knows that Jesse is on the Mitsurugi strategy, so cutting off those effects from activating the graveyard could be huge for him.
Setting one to back row before passing turn. Jesse has a lot of cards in hand, but not enough to have to put any back with the Fuelos. Passing priority in draw phase, so we get to activate that Dweller as soon as he can.
And it looks like it will resolve.
Now, can Jesse power through what is essentially just a detonator as well as one in the set?
8 in hand? That's a lot of cards in hand.
But detonator's a lot of cards too.
Very
if he
true.
can't answer it immediately. I don't think I see an infinite permanence in Jesse's hand.
He's going to have to contemplate his next move, or it could be his last in this tournament.
Oh, my bad.
I see him eyeing a Mitsurugi card in his hand.
Yeah, a lot less valuable under Dweller, but still useful if you're able to develop something. It looks like we're going to start with Mitsurugi Prayers, using its effect, already tributing a reptile with the Night Sword Serpent from the hand.
Not a card you want to draw, unfortunately.
There are many uses for it. I don't think it's the worst draw in the world, but at least in this instance, you're able to resolve both effects of Prayers here.
Mm-hmm. So they'll be able to get a level 4 on the field. Also,
searching any Mitsurugi monster.
Yep. See if he goes for Saji. Nope, looks like
He's
might-
going to add the Ameno Murakumo.
Yep, no Makumo, no Mitsurugi.
Will he opt to special summon? It doesn't look like he's opting to special summon. Yeah, he opts out. Just wanted to tribute the sword.
Okay, now he's going to activate Mitsurugi Ritual.
Gonna special summon out that Ameno Mitsurugi.
And
Gonna tribute from deck.
Yep, and now on the summon, he'll be able to destroy, or attempt to destroy all monsters that John Wilkin controls.
The Futsu being used as a material. Unfortunately, not going to be able to activate its effect in the graveyard when tributed.
Yep, Futsu, no Mitama, no Mitsurugi.
I appreciate you doing your best, Billy.
I'm doing my best. We got lots of words, lots of letters.
A lot of no's.
A lot of no's, yeah. We'll see if John Wilkins is going to say no here to the Ame no Murakamo.
I don't think he really needs to interrupt it per se. He just needs to protect his own detonator. And then he can also detach the aggregator.
Yep.
To not have to discard a card later. That's at least one use of detonator out of the way. A little expensive, but you had plenty of cards to work with thanks to the Fuelos.
Sure.
All right, looks like he's trying to go to battle phase here.
Yep. This trades with the detonator very well.
It's
It's once per turn to protect, so he gets to eliminate the detonator now, and now he can try to play with potentially some Ryzeal cards, if he has any.
It would be pretty unfortunate if he doesn't have any, since he drew 8 cards in hand for his turn, but we'll have to see. I do see a couple copies of Ash Blossom, but looks like he's going to use another Mitsurugi Ritual to Ritual Summon from the deck.
A little unfortunate here, because again, you are under Abyss Dweller. He's going to tribute his own Ameno Mitsurugi here. Just to have this one live, so potentially if another card is activated from John Wilkins' side, he's able to use its effect to either negate the effect or force him to discard a card. And now we can normal summon Sword Ryzeal, which still works. It's functional. Not the best, but is functional.
Yep. Not Ice Ryzeal, but it will let you get your engine online. Sword Ryzeal is going to add extra Ryzeal from the deck to the hand.
Extra Ryzeal also not that great right now. One, because of Abyss Dweller, but two, because it cannot activate its effect to add any cards here because he controls a non-level 4 monster.
Decides to send a detonator to the graveyard.
Oh, but he does have Cross.
All right, so we won't have to go into Duo Drive to access Ryzeal Cross, so we might just go straight into another copy of Detonator.
He's
But
going to go
still
straight
going to
into
go into Duo Drive.
He does not believe that to be infinite permanent set.
Duo Drive on summon will be able to attach a material from the graveyard, a Ryzeal monster at that, which is why he sent the Detonator. So
Going
now,
to resolve the effect here.
yep, detach 2 to add 2 Ryzeal cards from the deck to the hand.
This will likely be adding a copy of Node and Sword because he still hasn't used the effect of Sword to special summon from the hand.
Could be.
Optionally, you can go for Ice, but I don't really know how much value Ice is getting you right now. Oh, there is a copy of Node and Ice.
Ice is nice.
Sure can be.
All right, let's see where he goes next with this. He's going to special summon Node, since there's a rank 4 out there.
Sir, how many hand do you have?
Only down to 3. Not too bad from being at 8 cards in hand. So now he's going to use Node, sending the Ice to the graveyard to special summon back Sword Ryzeal.
Likely only plays the one sword, actually. That makes a lot more sense in this situation.
Then yeah, the Cross will put 2 Ryzeal monsters at the bottom of the deck and allow Jesse to draw a new card. Now he's going to overlay his 2 Ryzeal monsters for the rank 4 Ryzeal Detonator. On summon, he'll be able to attach a monster from his graveyard.
Gonna go for the Night Sword Serpent. Why not? Now the Dweller is unfortunately still on the field here, but I think the best single card that Jesse could have drawn is a Mitsurugi Prayers because both of those Murakumos are properly summoned. So you can set up the Raigeki effect.
I will attempt to leave me phase 2.
All right, looks like we're trying to go to in phase, and now play is back to John.
John gave himself a lot of follow-up in the previous turn, no longer under the restrictive effect of follow-ups.
Things could have gone worse for John here with so many cards that Jesse had in his hand. He definitely didn't draw into like the best 8 cards he could have.
Yeah, it was very heavy into the Mitsurugi.
It was a bluff.
Yep, there is the bonfire. Going to be able to continue extending here very easily, but this could force out the or like not force out, but just get a free detonator use here on the Abyss Dweller, which I think is what John wants. Honestly, it's like he doesn't need the Dweller for anything. It's just a body on the field that he's not going to do much with. But he's just going to use the Ame to potentially negate it, but just typically discard a card, make things a little less optimal for John.
Yeah, the Ame no Murakama no Mitsurugi either lets you negate the card, or if your opponent, unless your opponent sends the card from their hand to the graveyard. Ooh, big sigh here from John Wilkin. Deep think.
Let's see what he values more, whatever the monster he gets off this bonfire or any of the cards in his hand. He did already have an ice as follow-up, so he might not need this bonfire.
Definitely what he's thinking about is like, do I need this to resolve? Do I have an extra card I don't need in my hand to send? Looks like he does.
He's chaining the Druid Swarm, targeting the other copy of the Ame.
Imagine he had to draw Druid Storm for his turn. Does he want to cross it, or does he want to just use Detonator to take out the Abyss Dweller? Looks like he is going for Detonator, and that will destroy, or attempt to destroy Abyss Dweller. John Wilkin will chain.
Which I think is probably just fine.
I will.
So the bonfire will resolve negated because of the effect of Ame.
Discard. No, I think on the Juice Worm.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. The Juice Worm may not decide when I cross it. Oh,
This
sorry.
is dead, right?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. My bad.
Now,
Jesse's still trying to decide if he wants to use Ryzeal Cross to stop this Bestial Druid Storm from coming out.
really attempting to cut off as many bodies on the field simply because he knows his opponent is on Fiendsmith, right? He wants to just make sure that there are no additional bodies, and he does have to lose the Ame here. It looks like Bonfire will be resolving because he's choosing to discard a card here, discarded a spell. I couldn't really tell. It might be Attract. Bonfire going to resolve. I think he's eyeing a copy of X Ryzeal. Yep, going to be grabbing that X Ryzeal here.
The Bonfire felt like it was on the field for a century.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, man.
There was a lot to contemplate in this chain here.
It was, but man, that was a long time to have that Bonfire on the field.
So we did not opt to use the cross to protect from the Druid Swarm here. The Ame no Murakumo effect is used, but there's still 2 detonator uses and the cross that we have to worry about, as well as the cards from Jesse's hand. Can John Wilkin navigate through this and find an opening? Ooh, going to be activating his own cross.
Own copy of Ryzeal Cross.
I feel like you're going to use your detonator on that the majority of the time.
I think so. I mean, Detonator's great at destroying field spells.
It's also just a free draw at this point. I don't think you really want to let John have that, but obviously John is using this as bait here. He wants to get as many uses of the detonator out of the way.
Oh, sorry.
So, well, I guess we'll never know what that spell was, but I'm pretty sure it was Fiendsmith Tract. And now it looks like we're committing our normal summon here. I think we do have knowledge of both cards in hand being Ice and X. Ice being searched on the previous turn, X being searched on this turn. So now we're going to be using Ice Ryzeal. We still have a material under the detonator. We still have a material under the duo drive because of to be used with Cross. Now, but will Jesse use either of them?
been some pretty riveting gameplay so far here in game number 1 of Top 64.
It's a lot about what pushing. I mean, it seems like small interactions, but every single decision here matters. It's about getting to just 2 level 4s on the field could be devastating for Jesse. He's trying to keep him off the bodies, but also making sure to consider what Fiendsmith options there are, and as well as leaving bodies on the field will allow him to link away the Druid Swarm. So he was forcing his opponent to potentially use the X to lock him out of any link summons, forcing the Druid Swarm to stay on the field.
Could be the case.
Or at least he has to crash it in, not be able to conveniently deal with the detonator here, but just in case he's going to preserve his cross effect for the moment that the Druid Swarm is going to go after the detonator.
I mean, I know there's a lot to think about, but John's got to play a little bit faster.
Yeah, we're running out of cards here to even activate.
Like you can't think like on every single decision for like that long, unfortunately. I mean, it's not something, I'm not saying anything about John, but obviously there's a lot on the line, but you don't want to pick up slow play warnings at this stage in the game.
Node is going to be able to activate right now.
This is a cool play. I mean, he definitely, the thought has resulted in something really awesome here, being able to send the Druid Swarm to get that other level 4 on the field while cleaning up the field at the same time.
Yep, you're going to be able to resolve the Druid Swarm. You no longer have non-level 4s so that your X Ryzeal potentially can grab even more resources.
It's smart stuff. So he's going to use Ryzeal Cross to attach that extra material from Duo Drive to negate Node.
And then Druis is going to either go... Druis is going to go after the... I mean, the detonator actually doesn't have any more materials, it seems.
Ame no Murakamo.
Yes.
No. Mitsurugi.
No, Mitsurugi. And now he can finally resolve X Ryzeal.
The last card in his hand. He's going to send Eclipse Twins from his extra deck to the graveyard to special summon X Ryzeal. This is cool. So he's going to be able to see... You see where all that thought process is now paying off, where he was able to... He was looking far ahead to get to this point.
He just needed to get all of the interruptions out of the way to cleanly resolve X Ryzeal and, more importantly, resolve Eclipse Twins to put a detonator on the field.
Excellent plays here from John Wilkin. An excellent duelist facing one of the best to ever do it.
A solid back and forth here, knowing what his resources are, knowing what his opponent's resources are, and managing his way to put himself in a dominating position.
This is definitely my favorite use of Eclipse Twins, where you just get a detonator back from the graveyard. That's so cool.
It looks like he might actually be choosing to get the Dweller back.
Oh, okay. I saw the two and just assumed the one was going to go under the other, but this is pretty cool.
I think I understand the reasoning here, because he knows that he can't try to finish the game this turn. And if he has to pass back to his opponent, who still has this much access to the Mitsurugi engine, the single detonator might not be enough when he... Oh, actually, because the Dweller's already gone, you know you can already make another detonator. It's more important to be able to set up the Dweller again.
Especially with the Eclipse Twins under the detonator. Excellent, crispy, and clean plays here from John Wilkin.
A lot of thought went into this turn, clearly, but it all made sense. It led him to this position.
Yeah, definitely. 100% agreed. Detonator's going to take down the Duo Drive.
Been a difficult game for both players up to this point. Not necessarily out for either player, but currently John is in the leading position. All knowledge should be known now. The last card in hand was whatever was added off the X Ryzeal. I don't quite remember. And you get to draw for turn. You still have the Ryzeal Cross, which could either force out something, an effect from the detonator here, but that detonator is going to potentially activate several times, because one cool thing is now that he no longer has his own cross, he could, the Eclipse Twins can summon back the detonator.
Is it Typhon?
It is Typhon.
Oh, I was hoping Jesse was playing Typhon. He's going to immediately go into Typhon, use the effect to return the detonator, so it won't be able to come back from Eclipse Twin. John's going to take a peek in his graveyard, see if there's something he can summon with Eclipse Twins.
Does he have another Xyz monster in there? He
doesn't have
detonator,
right? Oh, no, but he was a material under from the Dweller.
No, like there is another detonator in there, but there's no other legal target for Eclipse Twins because it's aggregator and itself.
It needs to, yep. So now Jesse's going to move to activate Cross to put back a couple Ryzeal cards and draw a card. I love Typhon. It's really great at breaking down a board when you're facing down something like Ryzeal Detonator.
Able to clear this field very convincingly. but still leaving an interrupt or like a way to play for John here because he still has that Ryzeal monster in his hand. Gonna grab a copy of X Ryzeal here. Again, follow up for next turn. This is a grind.
I mean, this is both these players. When you're playing against an excellent duelist, you have to do everything correctly, consider all your options, and here we are. I love some excellent dueling. It's going to be an attack over Abyss Dweller, a set card face down, and a
Still
pass.
commanding 4 cards in hand that he just has not been able to use because of that Abyss Dweller.
And the Typhon kind of was.
Yeah, well, you were forced to use the Typhon here. But
Yeah.
now we're going to be normal summoning Sword. That's very telling of a very weak position here. Will that be met with a response?
We know Jesse has a couple Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs. in
He's
his
had them
hand.
for a long
Well,
time.
We know. I don't know if you at home know. We've been seeing him in his hands.
I think they're pretty clear on the screen there.
Oh, okay. Sometimes, 'cause we have a wider shot on the side, so I didn't know if you guys at home could always see the cards in their hand. But Ash Blossom and Joyous Springs is going to come down here, and that's it.
He gets to take it. Wow, what a...
Assuming John will be going first again, you see him point towards himself.
It almost worked out for him the first time. His hand actually looks pretty strong here.
I know I saw an Ice Ryzeal. Does Jesse have another Molcharmy?
Does John have an answer? Stay tuned.
And he's going to
Start
start
with Engraver. That's strong. That's strong. Now, this is one of the best starts that you can have as long as Jesse doesn't have Droll and Lockbird, and it doesn't seem like
He's
it.
not touching his hand. He's letting it stay on the table.
Jesse doesn't look that pleased. He's grimacing a little bit. I mean, he does have a bit of a poker face. You never really know how happy he is.
The king is not amused.
Uh,
That's the burst text for Supreme Darkness. You want to take a look at the front of the box. The king is not amused. Could be applicable here for Jesse Cotton, though. That's what the K stands for. Jesse K, Jesse King, Cotton.
his middle name is Dean.
Oh, I thought it was King.
No.
Oh, close. It's close. A dean is kind of like a king of a college. Yeah.
Sure. Well,
It's a stretch. It's a Goki Octo stretch.
oh my God.
I got the chambers. I got these all day.
Someone help me. I want to point out, did he normal summon that extra? He absolutely normal summoned that X Ryzeal, by the way, to add Sword Ryzeal here, and then follow it up by activating Tract to get the Lurie.
Interesting.
Sorry, I gotta be declaring my actions a little more. Yes, lock my effect.
Yeah, John, declare your actions so we can hear you. We need to know what's going on.
I mean, I definitely understand it. Nothing was sent from the extra, so it's very clear that the extra was normal summoned. But this does not restrict him.
Rather had one in there.
Very interesting to try to use the X to see if anything would happen before resolving the
I'll
Tract.
go effect.
All right, so he's going to equip the Requiem to the Lacrima. He's going to be able to contact, fusion, summon out Necroquip Princess.
And then going to be sending back the Lurie for the Engraver here. I think this was...
Oh! Nibiru the Primal Being, cross out Designator.
Slap it right back in the hand.
Nibiru the Primal Being will not be able to resolve.
This play makes sense because I think X was his only Ryzeal card. So normal summoning is the only way to actually access the remainder of the field, because if you...
He scoops?
My hand is unplayable.
His hand is unplayable. Okay.
Yeah, I like how Jesse actually put his hand on top of his deck. You know,
Hands are
shake. Game 3 finally underway. 13 minutes on the clock, maybe a little bit more. Sometimes our clock's not always the same as the feature match stage, but we'll go ahead.
They should have ample amount of time to play this game 3.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Summon Ice Ryzeal. Perfect.
Let's see if we can get started.
Awesome. No response. Okay, Thompson for hand.
All right, so we see a triple tactics sound coming down. He's going to look at the hand. Plenty of Ryzeal cards.
Yeah.
Going to put back the bonfire, leaving him with ice, and sword.
I mean, that'll
Try.
that'll
I
do.
don't blame you, but
That is rough. And then the rest of this play is going to go uncontested.
yeah, one Ash isn't stopping this. No,
I mean, yeah, John knows.
gotta try.
Oh, I think the chat was upset about...
Yeah.
Did he summon 2 monsters from the extra deck? Because we saw him summon the Dweller, but it was from the graveyard. He raw summoned Detonator. Yeah, maybe he didn't, actually.
I don't know, but yeah, that's also in the past by now, so we have to keep moving on. Sometimes like little things like that happen, and it becomes an accepted game state. And looks like he's just going to leave his hand face up here.
I mean, he knows what's going on. Like, both these players respect each other. They know they're not going to make any mistakes at this point.
I mean, essentially, this game is over.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
And John kind of knows that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, please stop that.
Thinking here.
They've always been a good sport.
Yeah, unfortunately, I was like something like that. I didn't even realize like the Dweller came back. You just see two Xyz monsters hit the field. It's kind of one of those things.
Like, we missed it. Clearly, Jesse missed it as well.
Yeah, it happens to the best of us.
In this position, you know, games go kind of long. You're not really thinking about it. You're just considering all your options.
Yeah, for sure. Now, Duo Drive's going to add Cross and Node.
We'll see if he opts to go into the Mitsurugi side of his engine. He knows he's safe to play into it. So we special summon the Node here. Node is potentially going to use its effect. We're going to activate the Cross. I mean, just, you know, why not?
Why not? You want to have it face up for once your
proper play.
Touchdown.
He knows there's not going to be any interruptions here, but we're just going to make a Duo Drive here in defense.
Detonator.
Yes, Duo Drive's already there.
Duo Drive also in defense mode, though.
I will pass turn 2.
Okay, opting not to do anything with the Mitsurugi side, just going steady.
He drew a good card. I think he drew a triple tactics talent.
That is,
I don't know why I'm
strong
whispering. They're so far away from us, but...
You don't want me to hear it.
I want to make it...
You're talking only...
a new challenge, Asala. Listen to my whispers.
All right, we're going to be immediately responding to the Ice Ryzeal with the effect of Detonator, and then likely negating the effect with Cross. Both from the Detonator.
Oh,
Interesting. Leaving the material on the Duo Drive.
Freeze play. YCS competitors, freeze play.
I mean, now...
It's time in the round. If you have not finished your match, please proceed to end of match procedures. If you need assistance with these procedures, please raise your hand and call for a judge. If you have a time extension, it begins now.
Now, was it a triple tactics talent? Is that what he's
It is, but like...
You draw? You have to draw, right?
Yeah, I think he has to draw, because taking doesn't do anything here.
Oh, but he has the Ash. Oh, he's going to do hand.
Oh, well, you know...
Oh.
What are you going to do? Like...
Oh.
He has Sword Ryzeal that he can special summon, but like if he opts to do that, then he needs to get rid of the Ash.
I think you have to go after the Ryzeal, right?
Just, I mean, he has Cross and Duo Drive. If he can't deal with the monsters...
Does John Wilkin play Typhon? Nope.
I kind of doubt it.
I mean, maybe he does, but
this is a tough call.
this is a really tough call. You have 2 interactions and follow-up.
We know his hand to be another copy of Ice Ryzeal and Sword Ryzeal. Sword Ryzeal is live, so he's able to continue playing with it unless he... So he actually just has to take the Ash. He cannot play if he doesn't take the Ash.
True, true, true. So it is going to be Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring going back into the deck.
Going to be special summoning Sword Ryzeal, attempting to use its effect. Going to Detonator, destroy it.
That's going to let him add...
Another Light Pyro. That's going to be the X Ryzeal. Very powerful here.
If John comes back this game...
It's possible. I mean,
that draw was exactly what he needed, and he had to go for hand too because these players are so good.
X Ryzeal
it blows my mind.
I mean, they've been playing this game for a long time. They've been playing these decks for a long time. They've made their practice. They come into this event prepared.
All right, X-Ryzeal is going to send down Aggregator, so Aggregator's going to be able to negate a face-up card on the field.
Probably just the Duo Drive just for stat purposes. Maybe the Cross, it doesn't really matter here, but the X-Ryzeal is going to connect, going to grab a copy of Node Ryzeal, I imagine. But he has summoned 1, 2, 3 times so far. So any Xyz monster will be summoned 5. I don't know if he can get around this Nibiru the Primal Being.
What I say about Typhon is you need it when you don't have it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, other people argue it's a card that's only good when you're in a losing position, but
it's better than losing.
I mean, sometimes it just still leads to losing, but it's like you
It
summon
prolongs
Typhon.
the inevitable.
Yeah, you summon Typhon, you waited a turn.
Yeah, inevitable. And now Node is going to touch down. That is going to be summon number 4.
Because it was Ice Ryzeal, then it was Sword Ryzeal, then it was X Ryzeal, now it's Node Ryzeal. And John knows this, but he's going to try. He's going to look for an opening. It looks like he's going to try to go for an Exciton Knight. He cannot, because he used the effective X, as well as the effective Sword, he cannot conduct a Link Summon. He's locked into 4s. But realistically, anything he does would be met with Nibiru the Primal Being, because the only card in hand is that Ice Ryzeal. And he can't send the token because it is a cost. You need to send it to the graveyard. So it would just be follow-up. He just has to hope that Jesse doesn't have a way to play, but he knows he has to X.
Yeah,
so
those when he looked at his hand with the talents, those are 3 cards he did not want to see, because no matter what he picks, he was in bad shape.
At least X doesn't actually allow him to play if he resolves Nibiru. So Detonator's going to be able to go after
the aggregator here.
Now it's a question of whether or not he even wants to use Nibiru in this position. At the very least, he might want to make the token smaller. Like, yeah, this is the thing, right? You're going to let him clear up one of the monsters. You're going to Nibiru in main phase 2, and you're going to summon both monsters in attack position so you can clear it on Nibiru.
I mean, also, I thought I lost, so I just, like, checked out. Yeah, so here you go, man.
Yeah, in main phase 2, I do believe he still has, like, he doesn't want the Detonator to be on the field. He's going to just use Nibiru, summon his Nibiru in attack mode. I mean, I guess that part doesn't really matter, but he needs to summon the token in attack mode so that he can crash into it, and then play in main phase 2 with X Ryzeal. But that does leave an opening for John here. Still will have Ice Ryzeal, so opting not to even do that.
Okay. Plays back to Jesse.
Because
looking back to that game 1, if he doesn't Typhon there, he still has Mitsurugi cards in his hand and ways to play potentially that we wouldn't have seen.
Yeah, but I mean,
that just like kind of dawned on me now.
It would have been a much more complicated game.
Yeah. So he's going to start with Cross to put the cards on the bottom to draw a fresh card.
That's some Mitsurugi Prayers, I believe. That could be quite useful here. I wonder if he's just trying to bait the Detonator. We're going to go with X Ryzeal. He can send Aggregator to go after the Detonator here right now. And then if Detonator tries to chain, he can use Cross to negate it.
Then he can chain. Oh, no.
Yeah.
So that checks at resolution. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm surprised. Like, he knew that he had X in hand. I'm surprised he didn't opt to use Detonator at first, like, option. But I mean, I'm also surprised Jesse didn't just lead with X because of that.
So
I think it could have been a misstep. Like, there's no reason, if you have X sending Aggregator, why not just lead with, you know everything. This puts you in a prime position because now the Detonator is turned off. He does potentially still have the Aggregator detach if it comes in a timely position. Sword's able to grab Ice here. In a strong position now.
Gonna overlay these 2 monsters for finally. Where's this guy been all weekend? King of the Feral Imps.
I mean, we've seen Jesse summon Mitsurugi monsters plenty of times at this point. He just didn't need to do King of the Feral Imps. He wanted to hold it a little bit steady, but now that he knows there's nothing that's going to actually interrupt this, he can go for the Saji.
Yep, Mitsurugi no Mikito Saji.
Normal summoning it to get access to the Mitsurugi ritual. Being the spell, of course.
Yeah, not the monster.
There it is. And now he can activate Mitsurugi Prayers to just use the effect simply to add. He doesn't need to tribute here. And there it is, Ame no Murakumo no Mitsurugi.
Ritual command? Sure.
Going to be able to summon it out, going to be able to destroy the Detonator as well. And the game is just locked up here. There's nothing that John can do, and he's known that for a while.
Yep.
Just going to offer the handshake, and Jesse takes